We'll call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Councilmember Fickman is absent. Approval of the agenda. We have 3 additions to the agenda. 7F, approve addendum to firefighter sculpture commission agreement. 7G, approve resolution 2024-31, authorizing advertisement for bids seal coat. And 7H, approve resolution 2024-32, authorizing advertisement for bids crack fill. Does the council have any other?
No.
Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with those 3 additions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Shellen, second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes of the March 6, 2024 regular meeting. Is there any changes or clarification needed within those minutes? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the March 6th meeting?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi.
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. This brings us to our public open forum. This is separate from the public hearing we have tonight. Is there anyone that wants to speak to the council? Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? Our public open forum is now closed. We will then move on to reports, presentations. Police Department. Almost said Chief Joe, but I can't say that yet.
We got the activity report for February 2024. If you look, it was a busier month for us. Up 145 calls from what we were last year at the same time. I think a lot of it had to do with weather, the farm, and we've been busy. We've been busy up until now. It's been a busy last 2 months. Some of the heavier calls we've had, some of the bigger numbers. We had 9 alarm calls, 21 medicals. We had 320 traffic stops throughout the month. We had 34 admin citations, that'd be parking of open containers and urination in the street calls. 21 personal assist calls. We had 11 juvenile problems throughout the city. We assisted other agencies 23 times, pretty level through the board. They all consisted of State Patrol, Garland, Speedy, Steers County, and Todd. And a handful of citations for no driver's license and driving verifications. Took 4 separate theft complaints for 843 total calls for the month. In other news, we did pick up the 2 new leased squad cars. One of them is up in Ferndale now, waiting to get upfitted. Everybody got their cars at the same time, so I don't know when we're going to see. I'm hoping to see at least one of the new squads on the road within the next 2 to 3 weeks. That second one we got, I don't know, it could be in the May before we get that one upfitted. Bill Gillis in town did get the decaled out for us, so if you see him, he did a real good job on him, so he did the decals on him. Our Axon project, I just had a meeting today with our Axon fleet. We have been running those Axon body cameras we just put in motion this year. They've been working good. Digital evidence is working great, so the next phase, or last phase, is going to be getting the Axon fleet cameras put in the squad cars. We're looking at probably, they won't be in the squads and running live to probably around June. It all depends on when they can get an installer file from Arizona. They're a newer model camera, so they have to come up and actually install them themselves. So they'll be able to sometime, probably in the end of May is what I'm thinking. I did have a meeting last week with Stearns County also started a new record system that's gonna go live in 2024, November 24th. So November this year, the 12th of November. And that's going to be a project. Like I said, it's going to, we have the costs on that, so our costs are gonna go up from what they were from 25, which wasn't to be expected. It wasn't near as bad as I thought it was going to be. So there's going to be some pretty big transitions starting this summer with our records management through the end of the year. So just a heads up on that, where some of the record stuff might be a little bit slower to get out because we're going to be trying to transition everything over. That's kind of all I got for questions.
Questions?
Just out of curiosity, Joe, you talked about the other agency assists. Is that just answering a call for one of these other agencies when they can't be there, showing up while the other agent, or a combination of?
Kind of a combination. So some of it is if another agent's calling for backup. So typically if a trooper is on a traffic stop and if they're going to go arrest somebody, they'll call for backup, agency assist. Or it could be if there's a crash a mile outside of town on mile marker 120, which is technically township. Crash injuries will typically respond to, that's considered agency assist. Kind of same thing for Todd, Melrose, the Stearns counties. Sometimes it may be us first responding to an emergency call for them, or like if Melrose had a domestic in progress, they only had one car on. Our dispatch looks at the map and says, the next closest deputy is Avon, Sauk's going to respond as well. So kind of all depends. And sometimes if Melrose doesn't have a car on, we first respond until they get a car to come in.
Okay.
So they all kind of, they're all different.
I was just curious.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
5B, Public Works Department. Ben?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The arena was shut down for the season. All the ice was removed along with glass and boards. The building was switched over for summer rentals. We do have some events occurring in March and early April that we will assist with. JC Park, the 2 bathrooms in the park have had everything removed from them and are undergoing a complete remodel right now. So we'll have this completed before spring arrives. Campground, our big guys have been working on the campground internet. In April, we will be cleaning up all the debris throughout the park and prepping it for the main first cutout. Streets, our street sweeper has been out. We did clean all the vortex storm sewer devices by the hospital in the park. And then we've also gone over all the catch bases, backing the debris for each one. Any repairs that are noted that need to be done on those catch basins have been documented, and we've had a second crew following them around and completing those repairs while the weather's been nice. We've done some pothole repair, but has been minor this year compared to last year. And while the weather was nice, the gravel roads were bladed. We'll be hauling class 5 to several alleys here in the spring. We are looking for a summer seasonal helper this year, so that will be one on soon for that person if anybody's interested in that. And then obviously we have a lot of snow for the industry, so trucks will be ready for that. Questions I can answer?
Do you have age restriction for your summer help?
They have to be 16.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. Good job.
Planning Commission report, Sarah?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packet, you have a copy of our agenda from the March 12th meeting. We did hold 2 public hearings, one for variance and a zoning map amendment, which are action items later on the agenda. And also at that meeting, I asked for year-end totals, the building permits, zoning permits, county land use requests we had for the variances, lot splits, plat, which was the author's edition, was one of those. And the numbers kind of show it just fluctuates every year, just never know what's coming to the office. And I do have all the list of the zoning permits for the year, which that's for the smaller projects, like small sheds, fences, and, smaller projects like that. So any questions about those totals?
Questions? Okay.
Thank you, Sarah.
CVB Annual Report. Pam?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Explore Minnesota tourism figures for 2023 have not been released yet. However, the latest 2022 figures data shows that Minnesota has surpassed its pre-pandemic levels in tourism and hospitality. The $18.3 billion in 2022 sales is a 16.8% increase over 2021, and 2023 is predicted to surpass that total. Employment impact grew 11.9%, which was an increase in 13,000 jobs, but these totals still trail the 2019 totals. Fiscal tax impacts generated $3.8 billion in federal, state, and local government revenues in 2022. Just a note for 2023, Explore Minnesota Tourism received an $11 million grant to work with the state CDA or D to work with livability in communities involving many aspects of tourism. The agencies are working together to try to create, bring more businesses to Minnesota, create jobs, and increase housing, employment, and visitors. The new campaign is entitled State of the North, and it was launched on March 11th, so you'll see ads and videos of working together on TV through that campaign. Our total revenues were $90,910, and our expenses were $87,140. And I added to you some of the ads that were done and paid for through Business Sauk Center, and just some of the publications that we do too. We did do some digital advertising. We also did some radio advertising. So we're trying to be expanding out a little ways. I attended the Minnesota Explore Tourism Conference in February of 2023, and I also did this year, 2024. But as of last year, the highlights introduced the new executive director of Explore Minnesota Tourism, Laura Benton McGinty. She has a lot of legislative contacts and is looking forward to putting her own stamp on Explore Minnesota Tourism. We saw 3 tours to Sauk Center for the Sinclair Lewis Boyd and Home in 2022. We had a bike tour of over 200 people. Unfortunately, we had storms that evening, and people did find shelter. Business Sauk Center brought in a band for the evening entertainment and supplied welcome bags and water to the bikers. This was a little bit unusual because the tour set up their own needs with different parts of the city. And so they didn't come to visit Sauk Center to do this all. And I was a little concerned about weather and whether provisions have been made in case it was bad weather and where these people would go. So I did talk to the police department, and they had made arrangements for them to get to the school if they needed to. But still, they stayed at the fairgrounds, which is still a little bit of a hike to the school. So I think it's something that given if this happens again, I might get more involved in the beginning and say, where are you staying, and who have you made arrangements with, and that kind of thing. Our Explore Minnesota Tourism grants were cut to $5,000, and you could choose whether you wanted to advertise in-state or out-of-state. The board chose to advertise mostly in-state. That's where most of our visitors come from. We sent out over 3,000 issues of the Visitor's Guide. The largest percentage goes to people in Minnesota. So people in Minnesota, we are pretty much a destination for in-state travel. That's mainly what we found out. Our hotel revenues increased in 2023 by about 1,000. Our campground decreased by 1,000. I was kind of surprised about that since we've had a full campground most of the time. Short-term rentals began paying lodging tax, and that accounted for $2,745 for our income in 2023. We continue to work with all entities to bring events to Sauk Center, including Sauk Snowfest, Cinco de los Days, Spring Out, and Christmas in the Park. And I'd like to thank the city and the police, and especially our Public Works Department for helping make all these events happen. Any questions?
Is there a number that you can put to the Snowfest, since we lost out on having that this year?
Could you say that a little louder?
Is there a number that you could attach to the Snowfest that we lost out on? Do you know, like a revenue?
Revenue-wise, that's pretty much a wash.
Okay.
Most of that is sponsorship and grants that come in. So we didn't lose any money, and we don't make any money. And again, that's 2024, that comes in 2024.
Sure.
So last year, we did have the event, brought in about 350 people actually that day, but as far as teams and people that came into the Sauk Center, there were teams from Colorado, Canada, Wisconsin, and North Dakota. So it is building. It's going to be taking a little bit of time, I think. I think the weather makes a huge difference on whether people come out and watch those races or not. And as far as the teams go, they're full. I mean, they have a full slate of racers, and so the CBB doesn't make or lose any money on that event.
Okay, is there any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
We'll move on to Airport Board Report. Vicky is out sick, so I will, since I'm on that board, I'll try to review. If I have questions, I'm going to look to Ben. Unless you were planning on doing the report? No? Oh, okay. All right. The Airport Board met on March 13th at its regular meeting. We received the Public Works report, basically the same as what Ben gives us. We discussed the timeline and our next steps for the land acquisition out there by the airport. We've got a report on our runway light inspection. Had a few glitches, but it's up and running now and doing good. Recommended proceeding with requesting MnDOT to reallocate the AWAS, which basically MnDOT put, I can say it, throw them under the bus. They put it in the wrong spot, and now with us possibly building any other projects out there, it's got to be moved. So we're working with them on that. Capital improvement projects, possibly another new hangar, and approved transfer of expiring entitlements. We've got one that's in Hutchinson right now, and then when we need it, they'll pay us back. So none of the money will be lost that the MnDOT Aeronautics has paid out. So is there any questions that myself or?
For the people that are watching this on TV, what's an AWAS? What does that stand for? It's an acronym, I know.
Automated Weather Observation Station.
Thank you. I knew that.
And for the public, it's an automated weather operating
There
station.
you go.
All right.
There you go.
What are the next steps then for the land acquisition? Are you,
Basically, we're still working through a purchase agreement
got it? Okay.
right now. So, any other questions? Okay, then we will move on to the next item. We will recess this meeting and enter into a public hearing. We have one public hearing before us this evening in accordance with the official mailed and public notice in the matter of vacation of utility easement. It is our intention that everyone has the opportunity to be heard. If you wish to speak, please sign in on the sign-up sheet at the back of the room. The procedure is as follows. Presentation by staff, followed by questions of staff, and then public input. Raise your hand. When recognized by the mayor, approach the podium and state your name and address for the record. State your comments and position. No one will be allowed to speak a second time until everyone has had a chance to be heard. First, we will hear questions for clarification, and then public in favor, and public against. After everyone who wishes to speak has had the opportunity to be heard, the hearing will be closed. After closure of the public hearing, the council will deliberate and take action as appropriate. Members of the audience do not participate in the council's discussion unless a majority of the council concedes to hear additional information or questions. The hearing is now in session. In your packet, you received the information. The applicant, Jason Borgening, owns 2 lots, 433 and 437 Pendergast Street, described as lots 4 and 5, Block 1, Joseph Anthony. He's interested in combining the lots and is requesting that the utility easement located on the common property lines be vacated, as well as the larger utility easement on Lot 5. Borgening is also the owner of the property immediately south of Lot 5. Vacating the easements will allow for the construction of buildings in the future over the lines. And the notice was published in the Sauk Center Herald of the hearing. As you can see, if I can find the map that's right underneath what I read, shows in the blue outline the utility easement there's now. Talking to our engineer, Keith Yap, he had stated that utility easement was put in place for future utilities in case anything to the south would get built. But then that was under 2 different property owners at that time. That way I understand it. Now it's going to be possibly 1 property owner. One of the things that we talked about was, since there's nothing in there, the vacation could more likely happen if we want to, but we would like to see at least a smaller easement coming off the corner of Pendergast, off the southwest corner, about 30 feet long. And I don't know, Jason hasn't seen this yet, so I'll show you this when we get a little farther in, so that way you understand what we're talking about. Has anyone got any questions as far as council?
Is it the entire blue section that is?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it is. Keith, did you have anything you wanted to add to this, since you're in the know and how this all came about?
Well, I think you said it pretty well, is that this was, the reason for that larger portion of the easement was so that we could extend sewer and water to the south. Actually, it drops off there to the south. The intent was that that's probably would be more of a lift station for sanitary down there, and it would pump actually up into Pendergast, so that's what we're looking at, plus the extension of water. The reason it was put there and kind of put on one side is because the center of Pendergast, the west side, is a different property owner. Center of the street to the west. So that's why it's kind of pushed over to all the east side. At this point, I do think we could have a smaller easement, as I was discussing here earlier. The other thing that occurred to me after we talked is lot 5, I think, is the easterly portion of the triangle. We have a 10-foot there. Normally we do, as you see all the other ones to the north, have a 5-foot utility easement along the edge of every property. So instead of 10, I would suggest we keep a 5-footer right along the property line, just like we would for any other property.
You're talking on the east edge of lot number 4?
Old 10-foot piece from that's on lot 5.
Right here. Is he talking about this area right here?
The triangle shaped lot.
Yeah,
Because that looks like a 10-foot easement.
Yeah,
He's
lot
talking on the edge.
5. So the south edge of lot 5 is a 10-foot utility easement. You can see
Okay.
the one there. I would suggest we would keep 5 feet in there as opposed to 10. So we could vacate the north 5 feet in there. My suggestion for that. That won't impede on home building, those kinds of things, because they can't for every sidewalk on Virginia, about the same, so.
So basically, you're saying just leave a 5-foot easement
5 foot versus 10, so we make it north.
all the way out to the county,
North is 5 feet of that particular stretch.
okay?
So we'd have to come up with a little different language of what that vacation would be, but I don't have any problem with the general approach to it. We just need something coming off of Pendergrass, and then we need that 5 foot on that south property line. So we have to have a land surveyor will have to come up with what's legal descriptions, we can indicate everything else, but it could be done. I don't see any issues with it.
Okay. While you're still standing there, I'm gonna ask Jason if he's got any questions, or if you want you wanna go up and have him clarify what he's talking
Yeah,
about?
the only question I would have, and I don't know what the big lot number is that?
That's number,
Is it the south? That's my question, to the south, because you own that to the south, correct?
Yeah, so if this all becomes one, the big one,
yeah,
4 and 5 are all one piece? Then would the easement still
It-
go through there, or would it go around the outside of the property?
it'd go right through the middle is what we're looking at.
So Warren, Jason does have to combine lots 4 and 5.
Yes.
Right,
And the big one, I thought.
Well, you can combine it, but you have to do the 4 and 5 for sure.
And you can combine the ones to the south with it.
Or is it-
Yes.
Yeah.
That-
Just doing it all together.
That's my question, because even if we close it down to a 5-foot, it's still on the property line between the southerly, which he also owns, and these 4 and 5, which I think your idea is to get everything
Yeah.
together.
So I really wanted to.
Okay, well, I wasn't where the other one was gonna be, so if so, then we wouldn't need that. However, it's kind of, really, things all sort of have to happen at once. We don't want to vacate these. And then say you decide, oh, I'm not gonna join another piece, now we want that easement to be there, so it kind of has to make sure it all happens in sequential action, if you will.
So not vacating it entirely, making it a 5-foot, but then eventually he combines them all, then we vacate it at that time.
But if he does that immediately, all at the same time, we can do it all, but it has to, that's not in front of us right now.
I gotcha.
Combining them.
right,
So that's the problem, we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle.
right. Which, who knows, we might not, depending on how fast it happens. So going back to what you and I had talked to at one point, just leaving like a 30-foot, 30 by 30 easement off the southwest corner of Pendergast, just so we can go from there.
Yeah,
And-
we were talking about, so for Jason, you can imagine that very, right off of Pendergrass, the very southwest corner.
Or you can even,
You want something that would be 15 feet on the north-south direction, 30 feet in the east-west direction, and then the 5 foot that we just talked about all along the south edge, from there all the way to the east property line.
You got-
And we would, if we could buy the others, and we did that all at the same time, we could get rid of that 5 foot all the way there. We'd still want that 15 by 30 I talked about, so you could get down into that parcel. The problem is, you need to be able to extend those utilities, that I don't know what you're gonna do with that property, we have to make sure that we have access to it, so it's such that 10 years from now, you sell that property to something else, now it becomes an issue, so that's what we always have to think about in the long term.
you drew out on my map, does he got the same little figures? Yeah, go up there and
I will draw his.
have him explain what he's talking about. I don't want any questions. Basically, it's a 15 on that side, 15 on this side. So it's 30 by 30.
So would it come this whole way here?
So we can come off here into our easement and put in a lift station and have room to move without having to
You
have.
see-
But if he builds over that?
Well, if he builds off of it, it could go away. It all
We have to
depends.
have access, so we can get.
But then he thinks we should keep this 5 feet combined.
Until-
Is that understandable?
Yeah, I know.
You know, We do this with the 5 feet.
We're all having little huddles here.
I know, I feel,
What's that?
I said we're all having little huddles here.
Well,
That's
I
all
want
right.
the, I want the
I know,
applicant
I
to know,
I know.
so, okay.
Nope, that's yours.
Is that understandable now? Okay. So basically what we would be looking is like a 30 by 30,
15 by 30, 15 feet north, south, 30 feet east, west.
Right.
Along that south.
west corner
And 5 feet from there all
out to the county. Right,
okay.
okay. Hopefully we didn't confuse anyone else on that as much as we were doing, so.
Any other questions for
I do not think so, council?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If the council doesn't have anything, we'll then go to the public. Ask them if they have any, want to speak in favor or against or needs clarification on what we just were discussing. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor or against or needs clarification? Call a third time. Is there anyone that wants to speak in favor or against or needs clarification? Okay, council, any last questions? Okay, then we will adjourn our public hearing and reconvene our regular meeting. 7A, approve resolution 2024-28 approving the variance for Mossman. Planning Commission acted as the Board of Adjustment at its March 12th, 2024 regular meeting, conducting a public hearing to consider the application of Brian Mossman for a variance from the required maximum square footage allowed for an attached garage. The property is located at 415 Pendergast Street and is legally described as all that part of Block 1, Lots 1 and 2, Joseph Anthony, except the south 23.40 feet of said Lot 2, according to the plat and survey thereof on file and of record in the office of the County Recorder for Stearns County, Minnesota. The applicant requests relief from the strict application of the requirements of Section 156.022, accessory structures, which states, on parcels occupied by dwelling units, no attached garage or accessory structure shall exceed 1,200 square feet in area. Applicant proposes to build an attached garage, 1,360 square feet in size, 160 square feet over the maximum allowed. By allowing the increased size, the applicant will be able to construct the garage along the same roof line as the home with attached front porch along the front of the house. The Planning Commission recommends the request be approved. And as you can see on page 34, there is the resolution listing the conditions or the findings. And the one condition that the variance is void within 1 year if it's not acted upon. So far, is there any questions or concerns about this? One concern that I had is if anywhere in the future, I was thinking as a condition being added on besides, is if the property at any point in time, they decide to start running a business out of the household, which we've got other people doing it, that nothing related to the business can be parked or stored outside the property. Being part of the Planning Commission meeting, it stated in their application that they wanted to keep everything nice and clean and stay with what the rest of the neighborhood looks like. But that doesn't mean that in 5 years they can't sell the property and someone start running a business out of it and start stacking stuff all around the house or along the
Yeah, good
property
idea.
lines.
Good idea.
So that's one condition that I would like to see added on. So,
I guess my only piece with that would be, wouldn't that go against If-
R1?
Yeah, right.
It
What?
would have to be rezoned to an RC, wouldn't it? It's R1 residential.
It's R1 now, but we've got people that are in R1s that are doing hairstylists, and we've got them running other businesses, but they aren't storing anything outside because of those.
Do they have conditional use for that, or is that, how was that? Yeah.
Yes.
The home occupation on one, like you said, typically it is like, maybe a salon or something that's taxes. And as long as there is no alteration to the exterior of the home, they can have their, home occupation. It's just that, and even in the code it says you can't have, stuff stored outside, like, Lauren's referring to.
Okay, so
Right.
it's still part of that, it's still part of the ordinance that if somebody's running a business out of their home, then having the stuff outside.
Right, and you can't have like increased noise or traffic, parking, and those kind of things for home occupation. So we do kind of cover it in that part of the ordinance, but, I restated.
Okay.
Yeah, basically, it's a restating what the ordinance already says,
Yeah.
but it doesn't hurt to repeat ourselves sometimes.
Well, I guess that was my question. I mean, if it's already an ordinance piece, I didn't necessarily know, but yeah, you're right.
So,
Yep.
okay. Is there any other
No, that's
questions?
okay. With that, Warren, then too, I mean, there are some people that have, I mean, you said any work, or how did you state what your condition was?
Business-related stuff. So if he's starts a business, yeah, snow removal business in the winter, we got snow coming. We don't want to see two skid loaders sitting in the driveway in front of the house.
Yeah.
They got to be stored inside.
Okay.
Snowplow blades, stuff like that. Basically, unless they come in and get special permission for it or get it, whatever, it's not allowed.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason I'm just reinstating, I don't want that to
Sure.
make sure that's
Yeah,
okay.
I agree.
But,
I agree.
Would that
I'm
include,
only one vote.
yeah, would that include, so I mean, there are people who come home with like work trucks and stuff like that and have that parked in the,
They're not officially running their business out of their house though.
Okay. All right.
So, any other questions from the planning commission? Or, not planning commission, from the council? I'm getting on the wrong board here. Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2024-28,
I'll make the
granting
motion.
variance to Brian Mossman
I'll make the motion with that stipulation.
with
Chief.
that
Yeah.
stipulation?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Shallen. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7B, approve ordinance 830, amending zoning map, bargaining. Planning Commission acting as the Board of Adjustment at its March 12, 2024 regular meeting, held a public hearing to consider an application from Jason Borgening to rezone Lot 4, Block 1, Joseph Anthony, which is located at 433 Pendergast Street. The lot is currently zoned R1 residential. The request is to rezone the parcel to IC, Industrial Commercial. Borgening rezoned the adjacent Lot 5, which wraps around Lot 4 to IC in 2021. Low-density residential is shown as yellow on the future land use plan. This designation accommodates single-family detached housing and two-family housing. This is by far the largest residential land use category by acreage and the most prevalent land use category overall. Low-density residential is permitted in the R1 zoning district. The industrial designation provides for manufacturing, wholesale sales, storage, waste management operations, and auto service centers, among other uses of similar intensity. There is no proposal for construction at this time. However, development could occur in the form of a new plat with multiple smaller lots, one larger lot, or a split of the three properties into a different configuration. Two property owners expressed opposition to the proposal, indicating that it encroaches into a platted residential quiet neighborhood, will potentially have large structures, and will increase commercial traffic on a residential road. It could also potentially have uses not compatible with low-density residential. Following the public hearing, the commission recommends that the rezoning be approved with the following findings of fact. The property is owned by Jason and Melanie Borgening. At this time, no new construction is planned for this parcel. The land area setback, shoreland, floodplain, and wetland requirements will be met. No evidence has been submitted that would indicate a depreciation of property values in the surrounding area as a result of the proposal. The immediate vicinity is zoned R1 and IC, with Pendergast Street running along the west parcel line for 75 feet. All codes, city, state, and federal, will be followed to minimize disturbance to neighboring properties. At this time, no new construction is planned for this parcel. Therefore, the proposal will not create excessive requirements for public facilities such as sewer, water, electricity, and neighboring recreational trail segment. Excuse me. Future development of this lot will require the extension of city utilities at the cost of the developer. Two conditions were imposed upon the approval. Lots 4 and 5 be combined into one parcel, and a privacy fence be constructed adjacent to Lot 3 prior to any construction on the property. Questions, concerns? Everyone knows where the property is, what its details are.
Yeah.
One thing that I would like to, based on what some of the proposed, we had two property owners express opposition. One of them was worried about traffic on a residential road. I think that could be one condition that could be added, that Pendergast Street cannot be used for any semi-traffic or heavy equipment to access that property. There's already an access coming off of Beltline Road that could be used. And then that'll protect the residential road, and especially then if we ever get around to tarring that road, which could happen, then we don't have the semi-traffic coming in on that road. So that is a suggestion if the council sees fit. Any questions, concerns?
You mentioned there's already access. Are you referring to the access to that, what seems to be almost a gravel pit in there?
That's what he owns.
You currently own that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then it would become off a highway, and it's a highway that's built for heavy road traffic.
I see it in the bottom right corner, the southeastern corner. Okay.
Yep.
When it talked about a privacy fence adjacent to Lot 3, would that be on both sides of Lot 3?
Just on the north side of Lot 4. It wouldn't need to be on both sides of Lot.
That triangle piece that runs to the
Oh.
back side?
The council never did that, anything with that.
It just said, the verbiage just said adjacent to Lot 3, so I didn't know
Okay.
if that included.
Right, which I took as adjacent as on the north side of Lot 4. So what is the council's wishes? Do we approve ordinance 830 amending the zoning map for Lot 4, Block 1, Joseph Anthony, with the findings and conditions? And if you want to add anything to it, you can at that time.
I'll make the motion to approve with these two added.
Okay, what about the access off of Pendergast? That too?
Yep, that too.
Okay. Motion by Diane to approve ordinance 830 amending zoning map for Lot 4, Block 1, Joseph Anthony, with the addition, the two conditions and the findings that are listed and with an additional one for, no heavy traffic or no semis or anything going, using Pendergast to access the property. Do I have a second?
I just have one more question before final vote. If this lot, now that we've, combined these, if for some reason Jason and Melly decide to sell, these lots stay combined, do the conditions of the privacy fence stay regardless of what gets built on that southerly property? So let's say somebody bought this after they decide not to build anything, they want to put up a house, is the next owner still required to put up a privacy fence between lots 4 and 3? Does this stay, does this get recorded with the property as a?
Yeah,
Okay.
that would stay, yeah.
But a new owner could potentially come in and, ask to revise that.
Right. Okay. Do I have a second? I'll second it. Now we can discuss more. Any questions, concerns?
I guess I'm still hung up on, sorry, I'm being a pain. I'm still hung up on the adjacent to Lot 3. If there was something going up in my backyard, I guess that language to me seems a little bit vague. If any of this is being used and there's not really I get that it's a small triangle, but that still has the potential to cause some issues potentially. I don't know.
So you're basically saying that you think a fence should be on the north edge of Lot 4 and
The west side of Lot 5?
the west side of,
That's what I was.
west side of Lot 3.
That's where my head was when I had read, or when we talked about adjacent to. So I just feel like if whatever the language is, it should be a little bit more clear, maybe in the condition, rather than just saying adjacent to Lot 3.
And I understand your situation on that, but I think once you get behind Lot 3, I don't see there's going to be a whole lot of room to be doing anything back there, since it's a triangle, and with your setbacks and everything else.
That's true, but if the issue was that it would kind of wreck some of the feel, even if you could see some things, or I don't even know what's potentially going to be there, so.
Well, nobody does.
Maybe it's not going to be an issue at all, but it could still be an issue, depending upon what's there.
And it could be one of them things for right now, that if something goes up,
Yeah.
depending on its location, the north side of Lot 4 would work. If it's moved around when it comes to that point, and they come in for the permit for it, then we can add that on.
Fair enough.
At that time,
Yeah.
Okay.
because it could be 10 years from now, it could be.
Fair enough, yeah.
But for right now, like I stated in the planning commission, we don't have a crystal ball. We have no idea what's there until it happens.
Right.
And then we're in control of it. So, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7C, approve resolution 2024-29 vacating utility easements, Borgeting. This action is on the proposed vacation of utility easements on the property lines common to lots 4 and 5, Block 1, Joseph Anthony, along with the utility easement located on Lot 5. If the council feels that the easements are no longer necessary for public use, it can vacate these easements by resolution. The resolution has been prepared. The council also has the option to amend the resolution if it feels that it is necessary. Comments?
Well, this is a piece we talked about in the
This is
public
the one
hearing,
we
right?
talked about in the public hearing. Everyone, I think, is pretty much on the same page of how the city engineer thinks it should work. We do not have to take that advice if we don't want to. We can just vacate it, or we can say, No. So sorry, Keith, but it's our meeting, so.
You're in charge.
So, council understand everything about the easement?
Yep.
Is there anyone that wants to make a motion? Do you want to make it the same? Do you want to make the changes Keith recommended, or not do anything?
I'll make a motion to amend the utility easement according to the earlier discussion, which would be the north and south 15 feet and the east-west 30 feet between lots 4 and 5, and a 5-foot easement along
Lot 5
lot 5
to Beltline Road.
to Beltline.
Okay. Does everyone understand that motion?
Yep.
And this is also combining the lots as well?
No.
Nope.
No. That's if he wants to. After he does it, then we can eliminate that other 5-foot easement.
I thought this was combining lots 4 and 5. Is that,
He has to combine lots 4 and 5. He has to do that. But he can also combine, is it the 4-acre parcel? It's the number south again.
Mm-hmm.
He can combine all 3 of them if he wants, but he has to do 4 and 5.
right? Is that in this particular resolution or no?
It was one of the conditions.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, number 1.
Yeah, it was. That's right. Now I see it.
It was,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a motion by Heidi.
I'll second.
We have a second by Diane. Is there any other questions? And we are including the language that Keith recommended.
Right.
Okay. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7D, approve resolution 2024-30 authorizing sale of 1997 Dodge Ram. The street department previously replaced this 97 Dodge Ram pickup and received authorization to offer it for sale. The pickup was offered for sale on MinBid online bidding platform. The successful bidder is as follows: John Steich Sr. for the 1997 Dodge Ram for the amount of $1,525. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2024-30 authorizing the sale of excess vehicle?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Shellen. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Diane. Is there any last minute discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7E, approve final payout, Fredericks. City policies of certain payouts to employees at retirement. These include payout of unused vacation and comp time, if any, and accumulated sick leave at 30%. The employee is also eligible to continue on health insurance by paying 60% of the premium. Chief Fredericks has requested a deviation from the policy. The Personnel Committee met and discussed the request and are recommending that Fredericks be paid out his accumulated sick leave at 75% and be allowed to retain his phone and phone number. The committee felt that Fredericks has earned this due to his achievements and longevity. Is there any questions?
Why does he want to retain his phone and phone number?
We
don't
aren't paying
understand.
for it.
Huh?
We aren't paying.
Oh, okay, I didn't understand that.
Okay.
I do want to clarify that, yes, it was discussed not to pay, but that he
Yeah.
is able to keep his phone and phone number.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve deviation from policy for payout to Fredericks?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Shellen. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7F, approve addendum to firefighter sculpture commission agreement. The city fire department has an agreement with Broden Studios for the commissioning of a fallen firefighter sculpture to be placed in Sinclair Lewis Park. The department has requested approval of an addendum to the agreement to include a 4-foot by 8-foot granite wall with inscription and installation for an additional $19,054.10. And the project will be paid by department funds. Is there any questions or concerns about that?
I think when it says department funds, they're planning on doing
It's the fire department.
donations and things like that, or they're doing some fundraising for that piece, is that right?
Or their charitable gambling will pay
Right.
for it.
I guess the other thing that I'd mentioned too, I know it's not a question, but that same people who they're going through are the ones who did the Sinclair Lewis statue out from the library, so.
Oh, okay. All right, do I have a motion to approve the addendum to Broden Studios agreement?
Motion to approve?
Motion by Diane, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, 4 in favor, none against. 7G, approve resolution 2024-31, authorizing advertisement for bids seal coat. You got the paper work in front of you on this. The city's 2024 budget includes funding for seal coating city streets. Streets improved in 2018 to 2020 have been identified as meeting the criteria for seal coating at this time. In addition, Lake Shore/Lake Ridge is also in need of seal coating. The total seal coating estimate is $198,204.42, based upon the cost per yard that was recently obtained by Stearns County for their projects. The city has in its budget $175,000 for both seal coating and crack filling. To stay on budget, if the council delays Lake Shore/Lake Ridge until 2025, it appears the budget can be met. Or if the council wishes, it can include Lake Shore, Lake Ridge, and identify alternate funding. You have the breakdown of each of the streets. Ben, I'm going to ask you to come up. I want to ask one question. On the seal coating project, is that strictly seal coating, this sheet we got, or is that actual crack filling and seal coating together?
The top sheet, this is 7B, is just the seal coat size.
Okay. So that puts us over without even doing any crack filling.
That is correct, yes. Yeah, the total between the two is about 231,000.
Okay. The one thing I was looking at is I was wondering, can we look at not seal coating Lake Ridge/Lake Shore and still do the crack filling? So at least it has some maintenance?
It's actually in 2021, we did crack fill Lake Ridge,
Okay,
so the cracks are actually in pretty good shape, there's some touch-up.
okay,
We can certainly get through this year if we, plan for next year. But we don't want to forego doing a seal coat on that pavement much longer, just to salvage that or keep it to its 40-year lifespan.
okay.
We had looked at doing all those roads around the hospital, last year, but we pushed that off when the nursing home was adding on.
Mhm.
All that truck traffic and digging in the street, so that is all done now, so now's a good time to get those completed. And actually Getty Street is on the list too, down by Bell there.
Right.
There's actually quite a bit of aggregate shown in that tower, so that's one that, we would not probably want to put on this year. We want to keep that in good condition since it's relatively new.
Okay. So basically, to stay in city budget, your recommendation is just not do Lake Ridge and
Plan for Lake Ridge next year, yes.
Lake Ridge and Lake Shore Drive both
Right.
for next year? And do
Seal
the rest of
coating and
them?
crack filling?
Both.
Both.
Okay.
So what is the council's wishes? Do we-
Personally, I think it would make sense to do it without the Lake Shore and Lake Ridge. This cost is just based on what Stearns County just,
They just had a project bid in 2024 here, about 3 weeks ago, and it was based on their per square yard price. They have the same specs as we do, same materials, same gallons per square yard, the whole works, so that was for the
Right. Second page. Who's got the
Yeah,
breakdown?
I saw that.
Yeah, okay.
They did have a bit bigger project than we do. Theirs was about 900,000, but that per square yard price in years past is typically LT for us.
Okay. So basically, if whoever wants to make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-31, authorizing the advertisement for bids for seal coating, and you can accept it as on here or remove the two we talked about.
I'll make the motion that we remove the two that we talked about, Lake Shore and Lake Ridge.
On seal coating?
Yeah.
Okay, motion by Diane, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Any other questions or concerns? Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4 in favor, none against. 7H, approve resolution 2024-32 authorizing advertisement for bids crack fill. And as you can see on here, Lake Ridge and Lake Shore Drive are listed on there again. Prior to seal coating, crack filling should be done. Streets have been identified as follows. The city has in its budget $175,000 for both seal coating and crack filling. It's basically the same thing as the previous. To stay on budget, if the council delays Lake Shore, Lake Ridge until 2025, it appears the budget can be met. Or if the council wishes, it can include Lake Shore, Lake Ridge, and identify alternate funding. So, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2024-32 authorizing the advertisement for bids for seal coating?
I'll make the motion to approve minus Lake Shore Drive and Lake Ridge Drive.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Heidi, second by Diane. Any other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. We have no unfinished business. We have no new business. This brings us to our consent agenda. We have schedule of claims of $72,375.34, paid claims of $150 for a total of $72,525.34, and a list of checks of $672,325.73. Is there any questions about the consent calendar as presented? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Shellen,
I'll second.
second by Diane. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. Informational items, you all have that in front of you from Spectrum. They're making their customers aware that they are discontinued programming of Olympusat and will be changing their channel lineup, which is kind of a monthly deal.
Yeah.
Is there any questions about that? Hearing none, that brings us to the end of our agenda.
We should probably make an announcement on the parking, chief.
Oh, I can,
Snowstorm.
one informational item is the way, this is the 20th March, and it looks like we got a lot of snow coming in the next 5 days. So as of tomorrow, I will be making a snow emergency thing starting tomorrow,
That'd be the 21st.
the March 21st, and going till the Wednesday, a week from today, 27th.
27th?
Yep.
At midnight. So Irregardless if your street is plowed curb to curb, you won't be parking on the street or it won't be there in the morning. So we're getting a lot of snow Thursday. They're talking plowable amount, and then we are also got a couple day break, but then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday looks like it's gonna be a lot, and we're
Yeah.
gonna need to have some place to move it to and also clean up afterwards. So just, and thank you, Diane, for
Thank you.
reminding me of that. There's nothing else. I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Diane. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Shellen. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned.